There you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us on another terrific Thursday's edition as we put some thought into what is transpiring. We're hoping to have, in addition to Miss Stephanie Dos Santos, Miss Tiffany Connolly to be a part of our discussion. Some great things in store for you, including at 1:30 an opportunity to share with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Culture and Heritage. An excellent event that's coming up shortly. And then 2 p.m. Mr. Roy Borden, famous voice and announcer who graced the studios of Radio Cayman not that long ago. Well, he's going to share with us as well. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And thanks for joining us. And thanks, too, for the opportunity to sit here. Every day, I give thanks for it. And I hope that I don't only do so privately, but publicly. It's not about just a sense of spirituality. And hopefully it's not about a sense of show, but it's a sense of respect and appreciation. So welcome to the studio, Ms. Stephanie Dos Santos. I think more and more of us need to appreciate that we occupy a time and a space. And there is no guarantee. We may live a century, we may not. Or we may only occupy a certain space for a specified, almost fleeting time. But what is our impact? And what are we getting? And what are we consciously willing to contribute? And as I look at relationships, for instance, we probably, and I'll be guided by you and certainly want to invite our listeners to chime in, we probably use that word too many times in connection to physical relationships, relationships of a kind that may only apply to one individual and the next, as opposed to our relationship with ourselves, with our environment, with our work, and make it go beyond a transactional relationship. And you, I must share, through your public appearances with us, have allowed me to think about it in a more pensive way, in a more meaningful way, but in a way that I get something and I give something, and hopefully to develop to, I know what was the word that you say, not to be to better you, but good afternoon to you. Thank you for coming on board.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and I'm hoping, as we mentioned, she has such a taxing schedule. From time to time, Ms. Tiffany Connolly has accepted graciously my invitation to join us for any part of her day that she is able to on a Thursday, and hopefully she'll be able to join us at some point, because the more people that can contribute to something, whether it's a complementary or competing view, whether it's a dissenting or assenting view, you get to have an input if you feel valued, welcome, and understood that you too should be free to express your perspective, as opposed to like the child who's sent to the corner and told, as in many societies, sometimes we don't even want to see you, much less hear you. And to be denied a voice, especially in a democracy and especially in this time, I think is destructive.
Yeah, I mean, we all have the voice to speak our truth, and it's just a matter of what is it that you can bring that someone needs.
But how many times are we not only denied that voice, but we deny ourselves from exercising that voice? I don't wish to use the political landscape in any means, but it's probably one of the easiest ways to demonstrate it. We know the parliamentarians enjoy a certain level of privilege and immunity when they speak from the floor of the parliament. They presumably should be able to say certain things. We respect that there is a level of privilege that should apply from an attorney or an advocate to the client, from the physician to the patient, that you should be able to say, doc, this is what is troubling me and the like. Now, we would want, hopefully, for nobody to abuse that position, hopefully to take the information and keep it if it means that there's going to be some great disservice to that person. But if that voice in the parliament, for instance, is an exercise to speak, not just to something or about something, but to ensure that it resonates so that that privilege allows the greater populace to appreciate that there are many who are feeling this thing. Maybe it's the pinch of the economic times. It may be as we see now, the cost of living. And they don't speak. I'll give us an example. If let's pick on the banks, for instance. If the banking cartel was behaving in a way that they felt that, their customers were being disenfranchised, and the minister responsible for banking or one of the others didn't speak to a growing concern, how would that level of discussion be elevated but for that? So even in the hours,
Yeah, I mean, there's communication and there's communication. Lots of people talk just for the sake of talking.
Right.
But if you want a really effective communication, it's going to be more about understanding them.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating a certain level of intimacy. And I made a video not long ago talking about what intimacy really is. And you can break it down by intimacy. So you can have a very intimate relationship with your daughter, for example. But I'm sure if you say in public, I've got a very intimate relationship with my daughter as a father, right away you'll be labeled as a pedophile or something. So I think it's also important to bring, to really tune into the meaning of each word. And intimacy, it's really your ability to hear, to feel, to see, to genuinely understand the depth of the person. Mm-hmm. So instead of wanting to love people, we should just all try to understand them. Yeah. And this is how you just go into a next level of communication, into your relationships, personal or at work or with anyone.
I wrote down, and just for the listeners, you couldn't see, I wrote in the word love, right? Yeah. Moments before you said that, as you mentioned intimacy. And a couple of things came to mind. I wonder, since for many of us, English is our first language. English is the language that we may be encouraged to learn if it isn't our first language, because that seems to be the language of communication for business and the like, despite, as a percentage, it's not the largest spoken language in the world, that aside. But the word intimacy, I wonder if, as you shared, our connotation, our impression and interpretation of that word creates this thing that's very limited. You have an intimate relationship with somebody. We interpret that to mean a relationship other than a very platonic, loving, caring relationship.
We think intimacy is about sex when it's not.
Yes.
Let's put the words out there, right?
Yeah. I like your directness. Maybe I should try that this time. I wonder if in, say, French or in any other language that there is another word. We only know the word intimacy in English, and it has mostly one meaning for us. Like love in another language, is there another word that would connotate intimacy, or is intimacy...
Intimité in French as well.
Okay.
But it's funny because going to New Zealand and learning English on the spot, it really helps putting a perspective on the genuine meaning of each word.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
And I can say that I actually express myself way better in English than in French.
Yeah. I remember long ago being introduced to the word love in different languages. Not just love like amor in Spanish, but that there are different types of love. For those of us who read the scriptures and you understand that there's the agape love, there's the amorous love, there's these things, and the love that you would have, like I do for a chocolate, would be a different love that you would have for a person or a pet or a particular activity. And that love, depending on the word that is used, would have the connotation that this is just a love of platonic friendship. It's not a love of eros and the like. And I'm wondering if in English we are somehow put at a disadvantage because, again, the word love has only one word, love. And it's dependent on the context to say, well, a parent to a child, I love you, versus a parent to the spouse, I love you, versus, I love this, cook food.
You see all those examples you gave is to describe an emotion.
Okay.
Love is the feeling.
All right. So when we come back from the break, I'm inclined to ask of you, through your travel and experience, through your expertise, and just living, and the upcoming workshop that you're going to be doing on relationships. Let's talk about some of that, because if we don't love ourselves, how are we expected to love others? If we don't trust and have confidence in who we are, how do we sort of express that? And does there need to be a level of, I'll use the word vulnerability, or maybe there's another context. Could we talk a bit about that as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. The phone lines are open and you can be a part of a discussion. It would be nice. A first-time caller, even a first-time messenger, asking something of Stephanie, contributing to our discussion, and recognizing that if we want to move forward and you'll eventually get me to a space where I find a better phrase and say, be the better self. Keep reminding me, I'll eventually get there. Give us a shout and share your thoughts, 949-8037, or toll free with the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Ransomware, DDoS, malware, phishing. If you don't know what those mean, you're not alone. But if you aren't protected against those cybersecurity attacks, then your business is at risk. Don't leave your data or your business vulnerable. Get Digicel Business Protect. Simpler, smarter cybersecurity. Visit our website, www.digicelbusiness.com, to request a callback or call us now on 623-2499.
Do you know that conditions may change suddenly in an emergency and you may have to leave at a moment's notice? When a hurricane threatens, you should have a grab-and-go survival kit. This kit should include your personal identification and other vital documents, which should be sealed in a watertight pouch or container. For more tips and information, visit the Hazard Management Cayman Islands office or caymanprepared.ky. This hurricane tip is brought to you by Hazard Management Cayman Islands and Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks, too, for this opportunity. And thanks to our guest, Ms. Stephanie Dos Santos, for sharing with us. I'm inclined to ask publicly, how many of us are willing to look at other subjects and to delve into it? Whether we read something, whether it's a physical piece of paper, whether it's an electronic device, whether we prefer to watch something in order to learn or to listen to it. We understand that as educators tell us, our students have different learning modalities, the way that they learn. Some are auditory, some are tactile, and the like. But how many of us now are so busy that we don't make time to look at things that we're even interested in, whether to pursue hobbies, and how do we set about, again, I want you to guide me because I believe words are important. How do we self-improve, self-develop? We do these workshops on that. I like the way you phrase that, don't be the better you. How do you say that?
It's just that every time.
Okay, Fox, the mic. All right. Well, that's going to be interesting. All right, well, you turn your mic back on in a second. It's not there yet. Huh? You hear yourself? All right, speaking to no, don't. You may not be heard, but it'll be recorded. Give us a shout on 949-8037. Toll free with the compliments of flow at 1-800-534-8255 or WhatsApp 925-3261. And if Joel, if you would turn her mic on for us, that might be helpful. And it's the beautiful part of how technology. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. There you are. Thanks very much. I must share.
Yeah.
I hope it's okay to say this, and I don't say this lightly. I recognize that I'm not as touchy-feely in that way that I think we should be, in a sense, in terms of showing emotions publicly. But I love the team that we have here. They're not just their commitment, their diligence, but the way that they approach our jobs, as taxing and stressful as it can be. People think always you're having fun. Well, when things don't work because the button didn't connect with the other button or whichever, they make it seamless. And I think when you see it the most is when there's a threatening national, some sort of emergency, a hurricane or something is coming. You listening outside don't understand what may be transpiring behind the scenes. In the kitchen, at the restaurant, we probably got an image that's very, very busy. 50 people running in different directions so that food can be plated and brought to your table and taste good with a smile. Well, you don't know that in the kitchen, literally, there's a fire.
So you just said something. Why you think we should not express emotions in public?
I think that is, and glad that you share that. I think that's something that is either conditioned or cultural. So there are many people for whom when they first meet, there's a way that they greet each other. There are some people that if that greeting extends beyond more than maybe a distant hi and handshake or gesture, that is seen to be inappropriate. If that greeting is maybe one age versus another age, or one gender versus another gender, I'm only starting to recognize that we have different approaches. But if that greeting is two individuals, say male, and it's a big hug, like a long time lost friend, oh, you're alive, you're back, and it's very, very affectionate, there may be some people who will look at it and go, whoa, what's there, right? And
so?
Exactly, but it is the reality.
Yeah, but
right?
If you're too worried about what other people will say, this is you're going to be walking on eggshell all the time, and you're not going to be able to be the fullest expression of who you truly are.
Yeah, take airports for instance.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a time when we all liked to travel. Maybe we're getting there. We would watch a movie, for instance, and in the airport, in the movie, there's a scene always of a warm embrace. Usually it's a male figure and a female figure, and there's a warm embrace, reunited and the like. Either the plane is going to be departing and they're separated and there are tears, or they've now arrived in this space and there's a joy and there's can I use the word passion? There's this thing. Or it may be parents and children, and they're reuniting in that, and you can see it, and in that moment, no matter whatever transpired in that movie, that's the scene that you see is probably the parting scene and then the end credits and the like, and that's what you're left with, right? Today, do you see that? I mean, not just because of the physical challenges of going through the airport, but you're not supposed to interact. And I'm wondering if that is impacting us in terms of our socialization. And I'm not hopefully speaking out of school, but I observed something not long ago where an adult was seeing the child, a parent was seeing the child off, and there were tears. And the tears of the adult were being contained and stoic. You know, we don't do this publicly, right? I just happened to know a little bit about the circumstance, and you could see, well, as I could, the pain, not just the joy of this is a new venture, but the pain that this thing now in this day and age is occurring. And
yeah, well, do you see, with the socialization process, we have pushed aside the part that we judge vulnerable. To put forward an aspect of who we are that is stronger.
Okay.
So, you see, I mean, we talk of the 3 pillars for a healthy and happy life, which are body, mind, and soul. So, you know, now we know how to take care of, like what to do to have a healthy body, right? So you're going to be mindful of what you put into your body, and you're going to exercise as well. Yeah. When you think of a healthy mind, it's about becoming aware of the thoughts that you're having and the impact that they have on your physical body. But when you think of a soul, what is soul health?
Okay.
Because when you think of a soul, you think of something that you cannot see and you cannot touch. And it's very much like emotions that we can't see and we can't touch, and that we call soul. You know, we say, oh, I've got this gut feelings, or I feel it in my heart, right? Therefore, soul health is emotional health.
Okay.
And we're on the verge of a complete different shift for humanity, I believe, because we haven't been addressing that 3rd pillar. And having a healthy, like being emotionally healthy, therefore taking care of the 3rd pillar, which is soul health, is going to be about addressing the complete full spectrum of emotions with that duality as well. Everything that we consider as positive emotions and the negative emotions. Because the truth is, we grow up like hiding the anger, hiding the jealousy, hiding the envy, and so on. When each emotion of the whole spectrum is saying a precious indication about your personal truth and how, if things are going around you as well.
Okay. So don't we also at times grow up not only hiding but suppressing some of the emotion?
Absolutely, because you got told that, you know, if you were angry because you wanted something, it's like, get in your room, calm yourself down, and you come back when you calm. Well, this sends different messages on the mind, right?
Right. Okay.
It's like, first, if you're angry, you're not worthy of love. So nobody, you know, so it's kind of like, well, I want that validation. I want to be loved and appreciated. So I'm not going to be angry then anymore. And the second is that when you're angry, too bad. Deal with that by yourself. So it reinforces that sense of isolation.
And you internalize a lot of it.
Absolutely. And that's why, you know, people feel like, oh, it's not good. He or she is angry. But, I mean, allow that to happen. I mean, this morning I was with my iPad and that keyboard stopped working. I mean, I was in a cafe with my best friend. And it really frustrated me so much. Yeah. I mean, I even with my fist, like, smashed the keyboard on the table. It made that huge noise, you know, with the teacups and stuff. But, I mean, I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't hurt myself. I didn't, you know, abuse anyone or anything. Just my keyboard. Yeah. And that was just my way of expressing my anger and frustration. Okay. And then it's like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to get a new keyboard. But the thing is, because everybody denies the anger or just think like, okay, I should know better. I should be able to contain it. I mean, if it's not expressed, it's still inside of you, if you want to admit it or not. Right. And then this is how you've got that display of violence where it's really hurtful. Someone is going to end up, you know, like hurting someone else.
But as you said that, and in that instant, we probably have had that, either witnessed it or ourselves experienced it. When we've said something We uttered some word in frustration. We've banged our fists on the table or smashed the keyboard. And around us, depending on where we are, whether it's in our household.
Yeah, that's the other aspect. Thank you for mentioning it, because I processed that afterwards when I was home, because I was reflecting and I thought to myself, if this would have happened 10 years ago, I would have a self-concept of shame through the roof, man. Because I would have been, oh man. I still ask my friend, I said, were you embarrassed for me to, to just make that noise, by smashing my keyboard? And he just said, no. I just wanted to help you feel better, and that's it. Yeah. But you see, 10 years ago, I would have been so, bottling up as well. Right. Not showing people my emotions or my frustration or so on. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's just what people want to see and what people die to see and to feel. It's to be authorized to be real.
To be real. You
can just be real. I mean, you're not abusing anyone or, so there's...
But here's the interesting thing, right? And I think, hopefully, as we get older and we have more life experience, we start to, I don't want to say become more intelligent, but become more consciously aware, right? More confident, hopefully, right? So with that in mind, well, you want to jump in, Cassie?
No, go for it.
With that in mind, and again, I'm self-editing because I don't want people, but I'm wondering to what extent our willingness now to express that, because we've now got to a place where we understand that this is healthy to do that. We're not putting anyone or anything at risk. We may embarrass the spouse, the partner, the particular person that is in there, but if we bottle it up, we know the self-harm. But I wonder if it's that, unlike, well, again, let's go back to the movies. We know it's supposed to exist in life. A person is arrested and the person are doing the arrest reads on what we can't understand, the Miranda, you have the right to remain silent, anything you cannot say, and it will be held against you and so on, right? We now understand that in our legislation that if you don't say anything immediately, it's an adverse inference that you are guilty, so therefore that's why you're saying it, as opposed to what people believe you have the right not to self-incriminate, so keep quiet. I'm wondering if we have now shifted the paradigm such that the confidence that we should have with self-expression is now being further and further suppressed and doing more and more harm. And then that's creating within this bottled-up individual a powder keg, just waiting to explode. What is it? The straw that broke the camel's back. He's reminding us of a break, and I'm kind of glad in a sense because I can see some people close to me going, he's been reading and thinking a little too much. But the more that we...
That's good.
Well, thank you. Doesn't say I understand it. I only realize that you want to know what you don't know, right? We are not willing. So when we come back from the break, let's ask about that. Can I go back to the notion of the soul and ask, why is it for some of us we only think of the soul upon death? We don't think of the soul as the thing that is while we're alive.
Yeah.
All right?
You have a body. Yeah. You are a soul.
Good. All right. 949-8037. Toll free the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. Please join us after the break.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
To celebrate Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, you are invited to plant a tree for the Jubilee. We need you, yes you, to leave your green mark on our Cayman Islands. Perhaps a mango tree, a little guinea, or mahogany. Register your tree and leave your green print at www.gov.ky/National Tree Planting or follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Plant a tree for the Jubilee. Proudly brought to you by the Cayman Islands Government, Ministry for Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Let's green Cayman!
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your call right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thank you for this honor, a true privilege, and a distinct pleasure to be able to sit here and facilitate. In the studio, we have Stephanie Dos Santos. We have a couple of calls. Let's take the first one. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling. Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, Mr. J.
Hey, good to hear from you, man. How's everything?
Oh, everything good, man.
All right, man. All right. I trust and pray. You deserve many blessings, my friend.
Yes, man. I got to try to call you in a little bit, yeah.
In the time, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so what is the word about the food now?
I think it's about time we started to give that the level of importance that it deserves, man. So talk to me.
Yeah, but I say, you don't think that should have been from a long time ago? I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, the population were growing and they were trying to grow to 100,000. How they were going 15, 100,000 people here on no farming equipment, no agriculture at all? How they were going to do that?
Yeah. Well, is that the challenge then, that we don't see, and I say this mindfully, we look at our parents, their parents, their parents, and the notion that they understood that they need to make provision. So they valued the importance of taking care of the plant because they wanted the fruit of that plant. But they also appreciated that plant would take years before it yielded a harvest in many cases. So they were mindful. What are we doing, man, that is seemingly counterproductive? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts right now is from how I had it when I was growing up is like, if somebody trying not to make me or trying not to get my age group or my generation to have any knowledge that one day, we really can have some say in our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe.
Self-security, independence, sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe somebody was making a profit off of that fear or off of that trying to get me not to know that kind of education or that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was what we call counterproductive.
Yeah, man. Well, you're always welcome to share a perspective, and I think I hear in the things you say so much that promotes within me a greater thought, man. Anything else you want to share with us, or we talk later?
No, yeah. The agriculture. The thing is, you go back to the plant where Israel, the plant where Israel was locked off for years and years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
But they had this plant to eat this thing called the maize or the masa or something.
Right.
This is what we need to find, This is what we need to realize. And hold on, it's a whole bunch of trees around here that we don't take advantage of it.
But are we destroying them either deliberately or unconsciously without realizing its value?
I have to say it's both, man.
Okay.
It's all too, because imagine you use one of these, no mean to say it, but one of these elderly people that they've lived their life and they're just like, I don't want to deal with you anymore. I don't want to deal with anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead, just go swim off in the water somewhere. I'll find you later. That's how they're thinking.
Yeah, they have.
And how am I supposed to grow with that kind of mentality always on top of me that you're not even entitled to free healthcare, you're not entitled to housing, you're not entitled to free oxygen. How I supposed to think anything around here you made for me like that?
Well, something for us to really rethink where are we going to end up in. That's
very frustrating. Thank you very much, Mr. D.
Listen, stay in prayer, my friend. Thank you too. As the caller was sharing, I was listening and hearing other things as well. So it's definitely this notion that we exist and we coexist, and we are probably self-interested, because that's maybe the sense of survival that we have, right? But is it then, as we having this discussion about relationships and self-trust and everything is all encompassing, where do we get to that space where we see that as a tripartite being the mind, the soul and the body? Why is it that we look at the soul as that thing that only exists and comes to life upon death?
Well, this is a belief, right? But the more as we evolve, I mean, even science now science evolves as well. If it didn't evolve, your kids will still be drinking heroin for cough syrup, and So yeah, but now it's obvious that you have a soul, and I mean, I've been sharing also with people, and I've been tuning into a community of people who have experience as well, near death. Having a near-death experience. I think this is really enlightening, because this is really how you realize that you have a body, but this body is nothing without your soul in it.
Yeah.
Because when I had that near-death experience, I step outside of my body and I was seeing people at the doctors around with the machine like being flat, because I stopped breathing. And it was such a wonderful feeling of interconnectedness with everything and everyone around.
Wow.
And even still to this day, I still don't know what pushed me back into my body, but I remember coming back from the top of my head, and this physical body felt so tight.
Restricted?
Yes,
constricting?
The limitation of the physical body and the pain of the first breath. It's the same when you give birth, right? The child, what is he going to do? Like the pain of the first breath.
And yet that child was living in a fluid and breathing.
Yeah.
Right? Is it then that as a people, we are, and I hope he doesn't mind, but he has inspired me to appreciate that as much as we think we know, or as much as we read, there's so much more that we don't know and we don't read. And if we tend to read the things that we like to read, and not that we will get down a rabbit hole, but we'll limit our interest to the things we're interested in, as opposed to Mr. Bill Adam talks about society not reading enough, not questioning. I'm wondering that as a people we are, as another friend talks about, we're dumbing down generations so that everything becomes convenient and easy.
And instant.
Right? And if we were to pick up anything, a comparative religious course, or just decide to read another perspective on the same historical occurrence, I would imagine if you were to read the account of a war from the side of the victor and from the side that has been decimated, would it be the same account? Right? If you were to watch a particular football match unfold, if the commentator is for one team and the other commentator is for the other team, will there be the same sort of perspective on the play?
It will be two different perspectives because you're two different human beings.
Right. So then,
but you see, for people to start asking the question about consciousness and wanting to be happy, you just have to ask yourself this question: what is it in my life that I'm not happy about? And it's been a while.
So,
and this is then, instead of putting the why on the outside, you're going to start looking within yourself, understanding that everything that you're experiencing is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. So, you see, I think I'm pretty relaxed most of the time, right? Also, last year I attracted this person, potential friend, that was very aggressive.
Mm.
And I told him, I said, dude, you've got something really dark within you.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see the way he was driving, all of that. And then I thought, okay, I'm not there to judge him. I'm just observing.
Mm-hmm.
And then automatically I ask myself, what is this person reflecting of me that I'm not aware of?
Wow.
And actually, this is how I realized I had lots of bottled up anger that I didn't process.
Okay. So that anger...
And then afterwards, the person, just did his thing and we're not in touch anymore.
It's interesting that you said that. And is it then that emotion that we see in someone, the anger, the darkness, to whichever, is a reflection of us or a sort of projection of...
Yeah.
For many of us, we're not willing to even acknowledge that. We see the other person...
No, because we're going to see on the other person and we're going to judge it, right? But we don't, like growing, like elevating your consciousness will start by being okay to see yourself in a bad light.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, and I don't say this because I'm some authority or some saint or sinless or what have you, but many of us go to church, we're familiar with the phrase, don't look at the speck in your brother's eye and ignore the plank in your own. That's what's happening. We see that thing that may be small relative to the thing in ours, but we magnify it in the other person. Oh, you're always angry, you're always this. But is that us seeing in them us?
Absolutely.
Well, okay, so we got a news break. Trust, self-trust, and the willingness to trust others. Let's talk about that, for instance, because I think many of us, is trust and confidence, trust and self-confidence, self-trust and confidence.
Yep.
Can we talk about that?
Absolutely.
All right. Listen, we have an excellent team that makes this production, and if you give us a shout, we want to hear from you. We have not just the compliments of Flow that provides a free call. So 1-800-534-8255. Join us after the break.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency recently facilitated a native seed and plant giveaway in support of the Plant a Tree for the Jubilee initiative and to transplant native saplings extracted from the planned Linford-Pearson Highway extension in Georgetown. Thanks in part to this event, the Jubilee initiative received a surge of support over the Jubilee long weekend. More than 230 trees are now pinned on the digital map, including 44 in the sister islands. In international news, North Korea could conduct a seventh nuclear test at any time, a U.S. official has warned. Sung Kim, U.S. Special Representative to North Korea, made the warning days after Pyongyang test-launched a record 8 ballistic missiles on Sunday. North Korea has tested an unprecedented number of missiles this year, 31 compared to 25 during the whole of its last record-breaking year in 2019. Remains of Europe's largest ever land-based dinosaur have been discovered on the Isle of Wight, scientists say. Paleontologists at the University of Southampton identified the remains of the predator, which measured more than 32 feet long and lived about 125 million years ago. The prehistoric bones belonged to a two-legged crocodile-faced predatory Spinosaurid dinosaur. The remains, which include pelvic and tail vertebrae, were discovered on the southwest coast of the Isle of Wight. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And thank you so much for joining us. And thanks too to Mr. Dos Santos for being a guest. I think you have allowed us to be able to delve into much discussion that many of us wish we had the courage. Many of us wish we had been willing to take time and perhaps search for a resource to look and see how we can appreciate what is affecting us. Now, what does it say? We are some of our experiences. And we perhaps don't understand sometimes that I think that we're feeling or seeing in others has an underlying sort of
reason to be.
I like the way you put that. In this idea of trust and confidence and self-trust, can I just maybe ask something, especially parent-child, as we talk about relationships and parents and children? We understand, and if this is incorrect, I wouldn't mind, being guided. But we understand the research has indicated that the parent who is actively involved and engaged in the lives of the children make better choices, they have better outcomes, they're healthier in every way, they are much more confident and trust their judgments. They tend to I use the word better, in a sense, right? But yet, for some reason, we are allowed to believe, and it's cemented in the media, that you can't be a helicopter parent. Now, that's a phrase that I struggle with, because if you're saying, research says, if the parent is involved in the life of the child, and you're somehow taking this phrase, helicopter parent, to be a negative connotation, how can you be involved actively involved and engaged with your children in their decision making, helping them to develop?
Well, you see, for the decision making, it's about guiding the child on how he feels about whatever he needs to be doing. So I think the most successful parents are the ones that are going to have an intimate connection with their child. They're going to be in tuned in their feelings and emotions in regards to sports or their study or what they're passionate about. After, it's very easy to fall into the opposite polarity, which is control. So it's you can be intimate and raise very emotionally healthy children without there's no control involved into it.
Yeah.
And you can also, as a parent, do your own stuff. You're basically empowering the child to connect with the whole spectrum of emotions. So as you grow, he will know how to approach everything that he's feeling. But the thing is, as adults, we grew up with denying a whole spectrum of negative emotions. So therefore, when we're going to have children, it's very likely that we're going to do the same for them.
Right.
It's like, you're angry. Oh, I can't hear that. Okay, just calm yourself in your room, for example. Again,
come back, talk to me when you're not so angry.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So, and this is how everything is so interconnected with the ability to genuinely understand what's going on in the other person's mind.
For some of us, though, when a person is angry and their word choices, their language, their tone, it may make it harder for us to want to engage, to listen to them.
Yeah.
We should, but it's hard because, man, you're shouting, man, you're cursing, man, you're so angry.
Yeah.
If we could take a step back and try to hear all that's being said, despite the way it's being said, the tone and the language. But it's not. That's a challenge for some of us.
Well, it is. So here on that example you gave, there's two notions that needs to be understood. Is that first, if the person ends up swearing and all of that, he was probably unvalidated for a long, long time, right? And it's just the way he expresses himself. After, we tend to take everything personally. And yes, it's not nice, even if it's your best buddy being angry and all of that thing. Also, because he's your best buddy, you know that all his swearing word is not directed at you. So you can just hold your space there to allow him to be angry.
Okay.
Right? As long as he's not hurting himself, he's not hurting anyone, and he's not having a go at someone personally.
Right. Not hurting themselves, not hurting others.
Yeah.
We say they're venting.
Yeah.
We find
and
these
then
words.
we can ask. And then we can ask, as a friend, okay, how can I help you there? You see, my best friend did something like life-changing. I was upset, and what he does, he comes to me and he hugs me. And then I push him away because I still need to vent, like you said. I still need to allow that anger to pass through me. And then he comes back a second time, hug me, and I feel already a bit better. And then I push him away a little bit more because I'm not done yet. But eventually, instead of this moment taking an hour, it took me like 30 minutes. And I told him, I said, thank you for holding me with love, even when I was angry.
Right.
And, and this makes it makes you feel like it's okay to feel the emotion. And then you learn how to approach the emotion in a very much a healthy way.
Okay. So pacify. How do we use what your friend did in a very, very healthy, loving, way that it helped, as opposed to when someone would try to do just to pacify other person, saying, stop trying to pacify me, I need to vent, I need to do this, and we do this thing. So there's a distinction, but is there a fine line between what is done in that case and what may translate as just trying to pacify and placate the person?
Well, you want to make sure on how you want to pacify it, that you're not invalidating the person on whatever he's feeling. Mm-hmm. Because if the person is upset, he's upset, right? You can tell him or her, oh, don't be upset. It's invalidating.
Right.
That's very likely to make the person even more upset.
Denying their voice, denying their space.
Yes, so you can just say, well, okay, I'm hearing that you're very angry. What can I do for you? Like, can I just stay there? Do you want just me to listen?
Yeah.
Okay. So then first you're establishing a connection there, because when you're angry, you tend to feel very isolated.
It's like maybe the child comes home from school and wants to talk. How do you get the child to talk? Or the partner comes from work or from volunteering or from whatever the day's activities, and you just need to listen so that person can talk and you engage. And you may do that while you're cooking or while you're just sitting there rubbing your feet or whatever it is that you do. That time of, can I use the word, intimacy brings connection, right?
Yes.
And you're just sitting there with your child, and maybe you're drawing and the child is drawing, or you're just chatting and you're developing what we say a bond, right?
Yep.
But is it then in saying that we don't trust ourselves enough to engage, and then we're allowing ourselves to be distracted by the demands of life or work? Meals need to be prepared, things around the house need to be done, a phone call or an email need to be responded to. Oops, I have a meeting for the PTA, for the church, for the service club, for the whichever. And so we're being disconnected, distracted, and as a result divided from those that are important in our lives.
Distraction is a choice.
Is it now?
It is.
Okay.
You choose to be distracted.
So someone,
if you don't want to commit to a regular conversation, with your partner, for example, at the end of the day, we have to understand that we are committed at every time, each second of the day, because to be committed, it's to put your energy into something. Mm-hmm. So then it's to find out what is therefore that you are committed to. And you are committed to distraction if you don't want to be committing to your partner and giving that 30 minutes after work, really understanding how was the day, how she's feeling.
Right. So is it that we sometimes consciously choose or devices, whether it's the telephone, or the cell phone, playing something or doing something on social media?
It's very often unconscious, but start becoming conscious of it.
Okay, so set that aside and be conscious. I know individuals who have a particular game that they play with the cards, and they just sit and they play a few hands of this game while they chat. It's a good little way. Instead of playing solitaire, because that in itself is indicative, you're playing solitaire.
Yeah.
So they play this little game, and while they're doing that, sometimes it's only 15 minutes, half an hour. They tell me sometimes it's hours, and it allows them to talk, and the mind now gets away from all the other things. But they found that works, right? Just like the game of dominoes and the like. So then, do we need to consciously find out how to reconnect?
Yeah. And I'm thinking of the call that you had just before with the man that was upset, and because he feels the disconnection.
Mm-hmm.
You feel the disconnect, the lack of communication. It feels.
Right. So take self-trust.
Yeah.
I have a good friend. He's always shared that when we were growing up, the devices that we had, we were not only encouraged by our families, our parents in particular, to take apart the radio, to explore if that was an interest in building little things and maybe cooking things, some of us would go in the yard, we'd find an old container, we'll pick little leaves and we'll pretend to cook. I don't know if many people did that, but I think
did that too.
I think a lot of us did it no matter where we grew up, right?
Yeah.
Some of us even probably made a fire, but don't say that too publicly, right? But it was safe. We didn't eat it. We knew, what was eatable and what's not, and we were just playing.
Yeah.
Creativity. And he shared that unfortunately today, the devices that we have are designed and manufactured in such a way that you can't take it apart. Not only is it, awfully expensive, but it's almost impossible to take it apart and deconstruct and figure out how it works. It's meant to be disposable, right? And he was wondering if that's a deliberate thing, or proprietary software, or is it creating within us this level of dependence and this conscious ploy to limit creativity? I used to...
Is it a conspiracy theory?
Is it a conspiracy theory? I mean, what is it that we ascribe to Rothschild, who says, presumably, show me who controls the purse strings and I'll tell you who calls the shots. So whether it's back to a gentleman that called, whether it's the food supply, or whether it's the banking system with the funds, whether it's the ability to take your car to service only to a certain place that has that particular piece of equipment that is super exorbitant, so it's no longer just a wrench and whatever else you use to change the oil and adjust the lifters and whatever. You now have to hook it up to something and it tells you what it is, presumably. Hopefully that's a correct diagnosis, but we no longer have that trade, that barter, that banter, that interaction.
Yeah.
So is that then that we have increasingly becoming not only distrustful of others, but we're not even trusting of ourselves or our ability or confidence to look within?
If you don't trust other people, it's because you don't trust yourself. You cannot give what you don't have.
Okay, so you can't love if you don't feel loved yourself.
Absolutely.
Can you learn to trust yourself? And is trust and confidence, as we ask, the same thing? Self-confidence and self-love.
It goes by pair, yeah.
Okay.
So when you trust someone is when it's to trust someone is to feel as if you can rely on them to act on your best interest.
To be there when you need them.
To act on your best interest.
Okay.
Okay. So that does not mean that they have to put your best interest above theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, to trust yourself is to know that you can rely on yourself to act on for your best interest.
But as you say that, I'm inclined to consider that many of us will almost immediately conclude that if someone is doing something for us, even if it's seemingly good for us, that there's an ulterior motive. They want something in return. Or you're doing this for me, what is it that you want?
You will feel it, or even if it's your calibration and you're assuming that because that person did something for you, that they might want something. You can just ask.
Okay.
Is it a transactional thing? Are you doing this for me because you want something from me? You can just be communicating straightforwardly instead of playing those guessing games or wanting to guess through the behaviors of our friends and partner what's going on in their mind.
So then, therefore, and as we speak to Ms. Stephanie Dos Santos, what you do, not just listen, but weigh in and share a thought. 949-8037, or use the Flow toll-free line. I wonder how many times I say that in a day. 1-800-534-8255. Is it then that in order to make that connection, well, first off, there needs to be a connection between you and the other person, parent, child, partner, siblings, even in the commercial space where there is a transaction, a monetary transaction. We talk about good customer relations, customer service. We know as clients or as customers, we prefer to go to a particular place versus a competitor. And if we go to that particular place, we're looking for a particular employee. Oh, I want to speak to Bob. No, I want to speak to Jean.
Yeah.
Because of connection.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the same thing. You can buy, the widget from anywhere, but you prefer to buy it from ABC Widget Company because, they have the best widgets. It's the same color as anything else, but
you see, before even food and water,
mm-hmm.
the primal needs for humans, it's closeness and connection.
Okay.
Before water and food.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I'm told that there are some animals that if you don't nurture, they don't have that interaction between the parent and the offspring, they die.
Well, you don't touch a baby, he dies. Talk about human babies. You don't touch a human baby, the baby dies.
Wow. Even if you feed it and give it water and everything, it probably won't flourish.
If there's no touch, the baby will die.
Wow. Was it Huxley? Aldous Huxley. I think it was. I never remember the authors. A book written a long time ago, maybe a century or more. And it was, as I read it, seems to be talking about test tube designer babies and the way they put things. And it was almost one of those dystopian futures, right? Read at a time where we didn't have helicopters, but this thing that described in it would be akin to a flying aircraft of sorts. I always wondered about that level of insight in these so-called, sci-fi. Where did that come from? How did that come about? Where's that thought?
Well, after this is just my opinion. I believe that some people are channeled.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a high connection with yourself, you can connect as well with other dimension and sometimes spirits as well.
Good or bad?
Yeah, well...
Spirit. Okay.
Spirits, but you see when there's some movies like, let's take the most common one, The Matrix.
I should watch that.
This or Inception or Lucy, all these movies talk about consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
These people have lived particular experiences in this time-space reality to tune into that and to then deciding to make a movie out of it.
And yet, for some reason, there's a level of self-trust, a level of confidence. Okay, they may parlay that into the access that they have and they finally land the book deal or the movie deal or what have you. But they actually must have been sufficiently confident, self-trust, to put down some way this idea and to advocate for this idea, put it forward in such a way that it becomes noticeable to the rest of us. Yet there are many of us who won't do that because we will feel to be ridiculed by others,
Yeah, but you see, just give it a try. And okay, let's address that side because there's a split within yourself there. There's a part of you that wants to do it, and there's the other part that does not want because you're scared of being ridiculized.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tap into that side. Okay, I'm going to allow myself to go to the end of the road if I'm being ridiculized. What is the worst that can happen? But the thing is, what?
What is the worst?
What's the worst that can happen? Well, not much. You're going to feel isolated by people that are going to judge a part of you that is part of you, and you cannot undo that. So then you can decide: do I want that person in my life, knowing that I cannot be the entirety of who I am?
Mm-hmm.
And this is how once you know how to define everything that defines you, and that you own it, then you're very likely to attract people that will want what you have to offer.
Okay. We're speaking to Ms. Stephanie Dos Santos. I am looking at a message that has come through from one of our listeners. And I'm inclined to say I want to read it as it's sent, but there's a little exchange of those watching us on YouTube can see. No, I have ordered lunch already. I'm not. and this person is saying that, whereas, I'm going to paraphrase, whereas what we're talking about, for some, may seem esoteric, may seem like we're just going around the bush and the like, and may not seem to have any concrete basis. The person is relaying an account where after a particular bout with an illness, started to appreciate how valuable life is, and as a result, start to consciously avoid certain things, not just food and activities, but people.
Absolutely.
And how do I put this? Because I don't want to. I'll just say to the person, just call in if you wish, right? And the person is sharing that at the end of the day, what was the biggest battle wasn't consciously wanting to do these things, was the acknowledgement that in not doing certain things, avoiding places, avoiding people, the level of
well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're not reading what I'm saying. I wonder, why does it take for these things to happen in our lives before we get to that, can I say, that level of consciousness?
Yeah, it's unfortunately for human beings, we tend to wait to be facing a illness or an accident or losing someone or, to actually start wanting to expand a little bit. But because on these moments, you are with your emotions, you can't run away from them anymore. And this is how, by reconnecting with everything that you're feeling inside, that you become more receptive and more tuned in everything that is around you. So yes, it's normal. There are some people you will not want to be spending time with after that. Because you will realize that every time you spend some time with Mike, well, you feel drained. Or that when you spend time with Sophie, then afterwards you feel all aggressive and, so you
I'm asking this person, right? And even if I knew who it was, it doesn't matter, but I don't, right? And this person is saying that for some reason we equate when a person decides to consciously do something or stop doing something. And again, I'm paraphrasing, that the people in our lives tend to look at us as if we're going through some sort of crisis. And I'm asking that maybe we are, and is crisis a bad thing?
But no, I mean, you can choose the word crisis, or you can choose a different word. You can say, well, I'm redefining myself and what it is that I really want in my life. Okay.
So in redefining that, then do we need to maybe I'll do it this way. In a business that sells widgets, there's an inventory. So if they're a clothing store, if they sell nails, if whatever, at some point then they want to know what stock they have. Yeah. They have a system set up that when it gets to a certain level, hopefully it's properly managed so that they don't run out, despite all the issues that we have now, that aside, so that they can serve their clients, right? Is it then that we need to do the same with ourselves so that we're taking stock of who we are? This person kind of makes me feel angry, or this person makes me feel a sense of elation. Just like a particular food will say, oh, that hurts my stomach, or that does it, and we won't eat it, or we know that if we eat it, this is going to be the consequence, and we'll learn how to cope with it, so we have the little home remedy available after. But do we do that, and should we if we don't?
Well, you see, this is what defines you. So again, we go back to the boundaries. You can see boundaries. It's everything that's going to define you. See, it's everything that you like, everything you don't like, your thoughts and feelings. So if you know that food does not resonate with you, then you're going to say, my boundaries, I don't like cucumbers, for example.
Okay.
This is it's something that defines you. And then if you spend some time with some beings that don't make you feel good, and it's on a regular basis, you give it a try one time, you go for coffee a second time, and the third time, and you realize that this is, it's not resonating with you. Well, then you choose not to have that person around you, and that's okay. There's someone out there that is going to want to resource what the energy that person has. But if it's not what you need at this moment, well, then you might want to cut that connection there, because everywhere you put your energy into, you're going to keep getting that back. Yeah. So if you don't like something, stop putting energy into it. Right. Don't feed it. Don't say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go for lunch with him or with her again. Oh, my gosh.
I smile because the person last message was, we again, paraphrase, we constantly say that the absolute definition of insanity is repeatedly doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different outcome, right? Yeah. And yet we all do that. We may have a gym membership. We may religiously go to the gym, and we may have been told by the personal trainer that we paid, or by much more experienced people, hey, your form isn't good. Yeah, you're lifting a lot of weight, but if you were to lift less weight and do it properly, you would not only reduce injury, but you'll actually get a better workout. You get the muscle definition that you're looking for, or what have you. And then tomorrow you won't be as sore and you can't move. You'll actually, but yet we don't take the advice. We don't self-correct. We constantly do the same thing over and over and over. Why is that?
Well, in that example, you might want to check what is the source. What is the source of that intention going to the gym?
Okay.
Because it might not come just to have a healthy body. It might just to reach the goal of having big muscles to impress women.
Okay. To be seen as well?
Yeah,
maybe
just being validating and being seen.
All right.
But then once you realize that, it's okay. Instead of seeking that validation outside to my detriment, how about I start seeing my own value? Yeah.
Okay. You have a workshop coming up on self-trust.
Yeah.
Next week, Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah. It's Wednesday at 7 p.m. At Parcel 110.
I like the way you say that. I mean, I say parcel, but the way you say it sounds much better.
Parcel 110.
Oui, madame. But, and the reason why I asked you to share with us is that I know, it's probably already subscribed and there are limited spaces and everything, but if we don't make a conscious effort to look at, where we are and what we are and who we are, we're going to
you're going to be a very complaining person and be very unhappy all the time because you're always going to be putting the blame on other people or on your circumstances or the environment and so on.
Yeah. Something that I reflect on sometimes. We make fun of Milli Vanilli. We talk about Blame It on the Rain, right? And I took that song and its lyrics and the consequences after. And we failed to realize that behind them, they were actually good singers. B, they were able to fool a lot of people for a period of time, only until something transpired that exposed them. And C, we blame. Okay, we blame in the rain, we blame in others, we blame in something. Oh, this pen isn't working. Well, did you know it wasn't working? So when are we willing to take our own experiences and look within to see how we can,
this is a very personal decision to make. I'm not there to tell people that they should all come because it's going to be great and everybody will live so much better in Cayman. It's just if you feel it within you that there's more to life than what you've been taught and you want to understand how your consciousness works. And I'm going to be diving as well into splits in consciousness. So it's really going to be insightful for people to understand why we are the way we are now. And then we can build and rebuild trust.
Build and rebuild.
Yeah.
It's important as we look at it. So as we go to our break, two quick things. One, you can decide if you wish. We're going to speak to Ms. Ventisha Conley from the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage. There's an event that they have coming up this Saturday that I think is going to be instrumental as she shares with us. You're more than welcome to keep my company if you wish.
Thank you.
And then 2 p.m. Mr. Roy Borden will be our guest. And then want you to tell us how to get in touch with you if you want to be a part of the workshop next week, right?
Okay, so you can message me on WhatsApp. So it's 329-8674. Or you can go on Instagram or Facebook, and it's the page DNA Introspection.
Okay.
Voila.
All right. Well, Miss Ventisha Conley will join us, and we want you to understand the importance of, drawing together. So she's going to give us an opportunity. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza, open Monday to Friday 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Subway makes it easy for you to stay on top of your health and wellness goals with our Fresh Fit menu options. Choose from 5 Fresh Fit Subway sandwiches with only 450 calories or less per 6-inch sub. Turkey breast, veggie, oven roasted chicken, Black Forest ham, sweet onion chicken teriyaki, or make your 6-inch Fresh Fit sub into a salad or wrap prepared with fresh vegetables. For a full menu and nutritional information, visit subway.ky. Subway, eat fresh.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And thank you very much for joining us. And if there was ever a time in my life that I ever start to think that I wasn't blessed, well, hopefully that never happens. But if it does, it'll be short-lived. For those who are joining us or have continued to have the guests in the company of Ms. Stephanie Dos Santos and now to be joined by Ms. Ventisha Connolly, not just within the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage, but the way you, as you were just sharing, if you allow me to say, bring your forte, your passion, your love and respect to the table and to help us to be encouraged to celebrate collectively. That is inspiring, and it's perhaps timely, because too many times with what is transpiring around the globe, we don't only need positivity, but we need people to appreciate that, as Stephanie was sharing. We need to love ourselves so we can love others.
She couldn't have said that better. And that is probably my number one motto in life, is the fact that I love life. I am in love with life. People say, what kind of coffee do you have in the morning when you get up? I don't drink coffee. I may drink a cup of tea, but this is me. And I'm in love with life. I'm in love with what I do. I'm in love with the people that I surround myself with, because they continually just say, let's pick you up.
A floating tide, was it? A rising tide floats all ships, right?
That's it.
I'm loving your energy.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks. And thanks for having me on such short notice today, Sterling.
Ain't a time for you. You know that.
So the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage is hosting one of our first, but we want it to be a quarterly event, entitled Saturdays in the Park. We have these beautiful parks around the Cayman Islands. So just not here in Grand Cayman, but we intend to travel over to the sister islands and do stuff over there too. But this first one is Saturdays in the Park. It's going to be this Saturday from 4:30 till 7 o'clock. And we are announcing and having the live performances of the Queen's Jubilee song and jingle competition. So we came on here a few weeks ago and encouraged people to sign up to create jingles, to create songs, and we have had just some beautifully done jingles and songs and submitted. And I tell you the truth, the first one I got, I literally sat there and I cried. I was like, oh my God, someone actually heard me on the radio. Someone saw my post. Someone, wants to do this. And then as they started coming in, it was like, more people are doing this. More people are joining. So it was exciting right up until the last one that we got on the cutoff date. So we'll be having them do their live performance. And announcing the winners of both categories. So, of course, the first place in the song category gets $1,000, and second and third also get a prize. And in the jingle competition, I think first prize is $800. So there was an incentive for them to do it, but it was exciting to get the submissions, because sometimes we post stuff and we might get, 1 or 2 likes, and we don't know that, they mightn't have liked it, but they saw it. So,
and I'm glad you came on to share with us. This is, and I say this without trying to offend any other media. But this is why Radio Cayman is such an actively engaged, involved part of our community. If you want an honest, credible, timely message out, whether it's an advertiser, help to plug for our wonderful sales team, but it's what we provide objectively and very cost effectively, I might add.
Yes. Yes.
So as they listen now, Saturday, we can get to see the fruits of that. It's going to be good, huh?
It is. It is. There are some wonderful pieces. I've gone into the office every other day or so and just put on one of the jingles or one of the songs and listen to it, and I'm smiling from ear to ear. And we'll also have the finalists, the top 3 finalists for our youth poetry competition that was a part of the Queen's Jubilee lineup. So again, they'll get a chance to share their poetry. And people will get to listen to that. But one of the other big things we're going to have is a presentation of the Ina Watler Queen's Jubilee National Award, Playwright Award. So many years ago, probably before I was born, Miss Ina Watler wrote a playwright for the Queen's coronation. So yes, it was way before I was a glint in
I
my
think I was
mother's eye.
young.
Because she was coronated in
52,
52. So my mom wasn't even born at that point.
Yeah, I was just a twinkle.
So she wrote a play for her coronation, and it won. So she won a certificate and something else, and this little bell that her son still has that says Queen's Coronation. So we thought it very timely in line with the Queen's Jubilee and the playwright competition that CNCF was having to award the winner this national award that we intend to keep going. So the winner of that was actually announced by CNCF on Mondays, Katie O'Sullivan. So she will be there. She will read an excerpt from her play, and then we'll award her the Ina Watler Award then on that day.
Okay. And go ahead. Because I was thinking that we have within our shores, and not just people who have homegrown from generational sort of connections, people who are homegrown who may have been here. This is their parents' sort of last stop before they were born. And there are people who have come here for many years, just recently. But they're all within our shores, and they all see the opportunity. They all see the ability to make connections, and they're all able to perhaps get access to a resource that probably would not be available to them or as easily available to them.
Yes.
And so if we can harness that, we can see how, and I'm not trying to be political, and I don't want people to hear the word and get all kind of bent out of shape. But when we talk about nation building, when we talk about sustainability, when we talk about,
preserving our past and strengthening our future.
Thank you. You probably saved me, because I was going to say perhaps a little bit more. This is about inclusion and bringing us together, but it's about respecting who we are. And I went the other evening to a place. It was a particular neighborhood to drop something for someone. And I just finished reading a book. Now be careful, Mr. After. If this is incorrect, you tell me. And so I don't mean to be disparaging. This fellow was given an account of when he's in Paris, and beautiful lights and everything. But the way he worded it, it was the organic aroma of, the droppings from dogs in Paris.
It's true. I'm sorry to say it's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So
now you both have just ruined one of my bucket lists.
Oh,
okay.
No.
Well.
Go to the south.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Right.
Okay. We can have a chat after that.
She'll tell you. And in this neighborhood in Cayman, I don't know if it was the dampness of the air, but there was this, smell of
the aroma.
Man, that's a good phrase. And the way I say that is that I'm very mindful of where you step. I was watching out for the puddles because they were there, but I should have been also watching out for the droppings of the poodles. Anyway.
Yes.
So how then I tie this into our conversation? When we start to respect where we are, respect who we are, and we bring our strengths, our loves, and our passions together, And on Saturday, we can see, that sort of melding of our people.
Yes.
And respecting, like Miss Ina's, who I think is a beloved lady whose legacy will live on, not just through, I think her great son, but she set an example, just like Miss Leela, just like Dr. Frank. If Miss Pat doesn't mind me saying, as an educator, just like her plays, there's so many of us. But if we don't introduce them, if we don't allow us as a people to see them on our stage, just like what we talked about earlier with Stephanie, our people will never grow, they'll never be celebrated, we'll never have that sense of self-love. See what I did there?
Yeah, connectedness.
Connection. And that's why, like Stephanie said, Ms. Ventisha, you have that winning energy.
Well, I'm thankful I do. It's, as you said, it's where you've grown up, where you've surrounded yourself with people, the people who have molded you as you've come up into making sure that, you're proud of everything, every aspect of your life, yourself, your upbringing, where you're from, what you're going to do in the future, because our past dictates our future. Yep. So I'm happy to be a part of that for someone, even if it's just, a smile on the road. But back to our thing. So we're going to have these great performances happening in the amphitheater at the Dart Park. But we'll also, because the one thing we are keen on doing in the ministry is making sure that our local craft vendors get their voice out there, get their wares, their things that they're making by hand out there for people to see and purchase, because you never know what a craft vendor has that you're thinking, oh, maybe I should look for that on Amazon or something, when in fact we have a craft vendor who makes that same little thing and you save some bucks by buying it locally. So we'll have some local craft vendors there selling their things, and we'll also have one or two food vendors. I know right now I can say for certain that we will have Miss Janet with her ice cream and her popsicles. So the local flavored popsicles and ice cream. She makes the
that grape nut she makes. Can you? I mean, if you know the name of her company, you can say it offhand.
I'm trying to remember it right now, and I can't. But yes, she makes that. She makes the sour sop.
It is awesome.
It is awesome.
Reminds me of Mr. Wilbur's,
Well, for me, it reminds me of Mr. Blackie
on
the rack. But yeah, so we'll have vendors like that'll be selling little things that people can purchase to, get your little ice cream bar or your taco in a bag, come over to the amphitheater, sit, watch the...
What a wonderful way for parents to bring their children.
Yeah, and that's we're catering to families. We want families to come out and enjoy themselves together for an afternoon. It's 2.5 hours. It's not very long. And it'll keep the children occupied. So, yeah, and the parents can enjoy themselves this Saturday in Dart Park.
All right. When we come after the break, I want you to tell us more. And I'm hopeful that people, we celebrated a long weekend last week. Whatever our views on it and whichever, what's gone is gone. We get a chance to celebrate again Saturday as a country, as all of us. And the little bit that I know, and don't ask how I know, of some of the winners and what have you, my perception is that not only are these young and aspiring people, but they've crossed many divides. They're the new and then they're the established. So you can share with us to whatever extent you wish. I won't do any more than prod, but I'd love you to. We'll see what happens, right?
We'll see what happens.
Power of persuasion, the presence of Miss Stephanie, perhaps may inspire Miss Ventisha to share with us even more. But definitely, the public invitation is for this Saturday at the Dart Park. We'll tell you more. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Due to infrastructure upgrades, customers on Canal Point Drive off West Bay Road and the Esther Tibbetts Highway will experience interruptions to their electrical service on Sunday, June 12th between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. For more information on the outage, contact COC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email at service@coc.ky.
Early Bird gets the cheap tickets. Join us at Parker's Raceway June 25th and 26th for as little as $10 for general admission. Race on over to parkersraceway.com and get your Early Bird tickets before they sell out. Racers, we've got a special deal for you too, so register early. Follow us on social media for more event details at Parker's Raceway. A big thanks to our sponsors, Monster, Valvoline, AI Rentals, Event Pro, BP Racing Fuels, Parker's, and GK Spark Plugs. Get your tickets at parkersraceway.com.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valued customers and the motoring public of planned works to upgrade the water supply infrastructure along Hurst Road on Sunday, 12th June from midnight till 9 a.m. All customers on Hurst Road and all side roads north of Rex Crichton Boulevard will experience a temporary interruption of service between 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. to facilitate the works. This area includes North Sound Estates, International College of the Cayman Islands, and Sunrise Landing. Motorists are encouraged to drive with caution when they are in the area to protect their safety and the safety of the Water Authority's staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it undertakes these works and apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause. Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Subway is serving up a special new sauce, bursting with flavor in every bite. The new Savory Collection is a tropical sweet and spicy sauce made with a combination of spices, habanero peppers, thyme, onion, black pepper, ginger, citrus juices, and molasses.
So good.
Wow.
Sensational. Delicious.
Subway's Savory Collection pairs perfectly with our oven roasted chicken or steak sub. Savor the flavor. For a limited time, only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And thank you very much for joining us. And as we go to the phones to welcome this caller, we have the excellent opportunity to continue speaking with Miss Stephanie Dos Santos as we welcome. And perhaps she sits in, can we say, almost co-hosting?
Yeah.
The excellent presence of
very,
Miss
very
Tisha Connolly. And we can tell you more about this event that the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture Heritage is having. But let's go to the phones. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Yes, Sterling, my little friend.
Blessings, my lady. How are you?
Sterling.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to ask the little young lady if they couldn't have the get together about from 3 o'clock in the afternoon, much better, because I know many times my daughter wants to take her little babies, but they have to go to to bed at a certain time, and then when it's too late, and sometimes not coming out, but sometimes I want to go to, and I live away in Baden Town, but I'm scared to go on driving late in the night, and I love those things. Oh boy.
So the timing then is something that you think we should bring it forward a little bit earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like 3 o'clock or so, please.
Okay, so thank you for the call and good afternoon. Unfortunately for this one, we've been advertising 4:30 to 7, but as I did say earlier, this is not just going to be a one and done. We are planning a quarterly event in the different parks throughout the districts, and so there is going to be one in Baden Town. Sometime in the near future. So, but I will take that into consideration that an earlier start may work better for some people.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for saying that. It's something for us to note. But I do hope you can join us. The performances will start at around 5 o'clock and should be done by 6:30 the latest. So you can, mingle around a little bit and leave before sun sets at 7:03 that night so that you're not on the road in the dark.
Thank you, baby. God bless you.
No problem. Thank you too, ma'am.
Thank you. And for those who are listening, thank you very much for that.
My little Sterling too.
Amen, Mom. God, thank you very much for sending this lady's inspiration to us. Thank you, Mom. God bless. To hear the terms of endearment, to hear the love that she's, my darling child, you would hear. I love that, and I hope that nobody listening, whether they were listening from the first second of our conversation or whether they just picked it up a millisecond before, that they don't hear anything other than a genuine love and respect, and the way she said that, there's just incredible love there.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. I you know what? That is the beautiful part, man. And I think this is what we're going to see on Saturday, as we all come out, no matter who we are, where we're from, how long we can stay. Yeah.
What I will say is, when I sent the email out yesterday afternoon after the pre-judging had been done, to notify those persons, you've made it to the finals. I got back emails that were, I'm so excited. I can't believe I made the finals. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Because they believed in themselves enough to put that submission in. And I'm so grateful that they did. So every one of them are excited to give their live performances, because the one thing we did ask for in their submission is that they do it with live music in the back. So it wasn't that, they took a clip from YouTube with some music in the background and put their words to it. They had to compose the accompaniment with the lyrics. So these performances are going to be straight up live, piano, violin, drumming,
Yeah. Can you, and I want to ask, because, it's not just my job, but it's my nature. We know that they, if I understand it correctly, the youth services had a poetry competition. We know the finalists. So we understand that they're going to be part of it as well.
Yes.
So we know the names of those. They were featured on Youth Flex. We know that's been a public thing.
Correct.
So we have that. We have, as you said, the top 5 song and jingle performances. Can you share any more about names, places, and people and styles, or that's going to have to wait until Saturday?
That's going to have to wait.
I tried.
But I will say to you, we do have entrants from persons who are probably about 13, 14, right up until, late 40s, early 50s.
Still young.
It's still young, but it's a cross generation.
Right.
And the collaboration of those, there is one particular one. I'm not going to spill the beans.
Let's keep saying it. Don't worry. I won't tell.
Where this young, she's a young lady, not even 20 yet, but she's collaborated with an older gentleman who plays the piano, and they compose the song together. And it is just, it's beautifully melded of the youth of her voice and his. I'm excited to hear the live performances. So
if the little tidbits that I've gathered so far, I'm expecting not only that we're going to be surprised by the talent and the sort of creativeness that are here, but we're going to be cognizant of the cross-generational, cross-cultural, the sort of symbiotic relationships that exist, and the melding that is able to be more easily sort of appreciated here because of accessibility.
Yes.
Is that a fair way to say it?
That is a perfect way to say it.
I'm
well done.
Well done. Can you imagine if I had a script? No, and this is, I think, what Stephanie referenced earlier. Here we are in this space and place. Whether we occupy it forever, never travel again, or whether we're just passing through. Our next journey is to retire or to relocate. But we're here now. Make hay while the sun shines and embrace and enjoy what we have. But take the positive energy.
Yes.
And so, although 5 o'clock will, be the performances, it'll be over by 90 minutes later. It starts 4:30, but you come there from 3. The vendors will be there.
Yes.
Miss Jan and her cake, cool ice cream.
Oh,
you have a favorite, the grape nut, or which one?
Soursop.
Soursop.
My all-time favorite fruit
Dairy-free?
ever.
I've never tried it. I swear. I have to come.
It's the perfect blend of tart and sweet.
Is she still in West Bay, Miss Janet?
Yes. Yes.
He asks knowing.
It to me.
No, but not just to just single her out by any means, but the fact that she started, as I understand it, at home in her kitchen doing something, friends and family, and has grown.
Yes.
What I believe if she was in any other part of the world, this would become an international brand, just like some of the ones that we almost become household names if you were in other parts of the world. And yet this thing is superior in quality.
Yes.
To those things.
I'm going to Google it to see what it looks like.
Yeah, it is amazing. And, I'm not asking for any, but if she wants to send it, just kidding. No, it's in the shops. You can get some.
Yes.
And if you know a source, it's, this person is teasing us, had a soursop for breakfast this morning.
Oh,
okay.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
You're listening, you know where to send it to. Miss Ventisha, she's over in the
government
new
building.
The new $100 million building that adds immensely to the government's portfolio.
Yes.
The security, wonderfully receptive people. You just come and say, you have a soursop for Miss Ventisha, she'll take it.
Oh, yes.
Anytime.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I recognize we've got a couple of seconds left. All we got to do is show up.
All you got to do is show up. It's a free event. The big thing with the ministry, always with any of our events, is that we want to make it accessible to everyone. So you will never find an event where we are going to charge you to come in. It is free and open to the general public. I do know that there's a bus route past the Dart Park, so you can always catch a bus if you don't drive.
Right.
To get there.
I'm not. Forgive me. It was just a thought I had. I don't know if I referenced it earlier. Is it perhaps for subsequent events, if not this one, some sort of park and ride thing where we had a bus service way back when we have a little shuttle commuter from the government parking to the building?
It's in the long term of this. So this is, like I said, Saturdays in the Park is something we want to do on a quarterly basis, and which with everyone, it's going to get better and better. We're going to see little things like you just said, and the older lady said when she called, the timing may not suit our older folks because they like to be in by 6 o'clock. So if we can look to put it a little bit earlier, the bus route, having a park and ride. I know coming up next week we have the Lukia Museum event, and we're going to have a park and ride with that. Park behind government building in the immigration parking lot, and there will be a shuttle to take you back and forth. So these are things that as we build each event, we remember that we've got limited parking. Let's look at how we can fix that. So it's getting there.
This is where we work together, and if you would allow me to say, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, not just to promote the things that the ministry is doing, but to speak to you as an individual who brings great intellect, but passion and integrity, and helps us to appreciate the importance of drawing alongside, sharing and celebrating together. And if it's okay, I believe you epitomize much that is within the civil service. Thank you for having the courage of being a voice to help us to come out Saturday and be surprised, be amazed, be encouraged by what is within this small little, geographically speaking, space. It's priceless.
Yes. I'm blown away by the talent that we have, that you really wouldn't know that we had, because some people hide those talents. You know, I'm probably gonna say that I'm one of them. Many people know that Maxine Moore McCoy is my aunt. So that love of singing is across our family. And I do. But I gotta tell someone, I sing if I have to.
Yeah.
It's not because I need to.
Well, I would sing for my food if I had to.
That's one thing I would too.
All right.
But I know that my time is winding up, so I want to again invite everyone to join us this Saturday at Dart Park from 4:30 to 7 to see the live performances of the Queen's Jubilee Song and Jingle Competition. Listen to the finalists from the Youth National Poetry Competition, and to hear from the winner of the CNCF's National Playwright Competition. The event is free. We will have food and craft vendors there selling their wares, but we invite everyone to come out, join us, have a little 2.5 hours with the family of fun and engagement with others in the community. And yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Antisha.
Thank you, Sterling. Anytime.
All right, to our listeners, and that's this Saturday. And as we go into the news break, join us right after, because Mr. Roy Borden, that very, very revered, respected, and well-known name, voice that has been part of the Radio Cayman talent, will be our guest. And he's going to share with us. So join us right after this break.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage is inviting persons to apply to become members of the National Youth Commission Board. The commission is a voluntary 13-person board, and members can be appointed for up to 3 years. The first round of applications began yesterday, Wednesday, June 8th, and last until Wednesday, June 22nd of this year. For full details, contact ysch-events@gov.ky or call 244-3238 to arrange hand delivery submission. In international news, a tiny rock fragment has hit the new James Webb Space Telescope's main mirror. The damage inflicted by the dust-sized micrometeoroid is producing a noticeable effect in the observatory's data, but is not expected to limit the mission's overall performance. James Webb was launched in December to succeed the revolutionary but now aging Hubble Space Telescope. Astronomers are due to release its first views of the cosmos on July 12th. People in Thailand can now grow cannabis plants at home and sell the crop after the nation removed marijuana from its banned narcotics list. The nation is the first to advance such a move in Southeast Asia, a region known for its stringent drug laws, but recreational use is still banned, even though advocates say the easing effectively decriminalizes marijuana. The government is hoping that developing a local cannabis trade will boost agriculture and tourism. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
We wanna go and dally, backyard.
So you hear the joke about the goat that walk into the yard?
No, tell me now.
I hear it became brunch at Backyard.
The Sunday Fun Day Caribbean Brunch at Backyard. Non-stop food, only $45 for adults and $20 for children under 12. With them store prices, only an ox would miss this, because oxtail on the menu too, along with eggs, bacon, callaloo, jerk chicken and more. Oh, and the curry goat.
Backyard, non-stop food, Sunday Fun Day Caribbean Brunch. Book your table now, 746-4603.
Cayman, get ready for Blossom Premium All-Inclusive. Come enjoy ambience, sweet soca music, and a star-powered cast featuring Edwin Yearwood, Vashti, Red Plastic Bag, Erica Asai, and Show Wayne Winchester. Thursday, 30th June at the National Gallery. Party time 7 p.m. to midnight. Dress code light cocktail attire. Blossom Premium All-Inclusive for Cayman's Carnival, a production of Calabra and SW Limited.
Talk today.
but I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. And we had, started to dub Thursdays, thoughtful Thursdays, and what a wonderful discussion. I hope you've enjoyed it thus far. I think if we had consciously done anything, we couldn't do it any better. Now, to sort of end today's production of what I think is probably the capstone, the icing on the cake, the whole overall discussion thus far has been great. But now to welcome Mr. Roy Borden and his lovely young bride, if that'll be okay, Mr. Roy.
Gosh, absolutely.
All right.
Well, it is so good to be here, Sterling. It's been a long, long time. I think it's been a few years anyway.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And I spent, almost 13 years at Radio Cayman.
Yeah.
Back in the late 1990s, the late 1980s actually, until the early 2000s.
I remember one of our last discussions, we were talking not just about history and your music. I remember your performance at the Harquail.
Yes.
And you like many Caymanians, take the guitar, usually.
Right.
Country music to be as much of us as Turtle Meat.
Let me tell you, it's part of my DNA.
And to now have this chance to chat with you and to ask you to share, about your book and the like. We could talk for days on end and probably not even scratch the surface.
Yes, I know. At least I could anyway. Some people always say, well, Roy, you talk a little too much. But I guess I'm a talker.
All right. Well, as we do that, I'm reminded, Mr. Roy, that we have a caller on hold. Let's just, maybe start a discussion with this caller. We are speaking to Mr. Roy Borden. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon. Mr. Roy Borden might know the young lady who's on the other end of the line.
And who's this?
How are you? This is Daphne.
Daphne, how are you?
I am doing well. It's good to hear you. And you're right back in your
my old stomping grounds.
Yes. And hopefully your lovely wife is doing well.
She's doing great.
Thank you.
Oh, you're there.
I am here. I don't let him get out of my sight.
Hallelujah.
He's right beside me.
What is this? This is beautiful. I shared your short video that you did at Pedro's Castle with a number of people.
Yes.
I know.
And everyone's response was, how sweet. You seem to be so much in love.
Well, I am.
Nice, positive responses I was getting, and I thought, wow, this is beautiful, because I know this couple, but to have shared that, and then to have gotten such positive responses, I was just simply elated by it all.
Oh, Daphne, you're more than fun. So thank you so very much for being so kind.
Yeah, I have prayed for you both.
I appreciate that even more.
I hope that you will have, a number of beautiful years together.
Well,
that physically as well as mentally
and spiritually
to be healthy.
Yes,
and that you will continue to enjoy your children and grandchildren and
great-grandchildren
and everything. All the best.
Thank you.
Play the lottery.
Thank you,
enough.
Okay, thank you, Daphne.
Take a world cruise.
You take care.
God bless and have
God
a good
bless you
afternoon.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
God bless, ma'am. God bless. And as we're speaking to Mr. Roy, a message is coming through, and I don't know if it was. I think it was before Miss Daphne shared, her public love and respect and acknowledgement and admiration. This individual equally is saying the same thing, that the two of you, not just as one, but you embody and epitomize, as I quote, what love is, what it should be, what sustains us. I know we're going to talk about the book. If it's,
that's okay.
Yeah, if it's okay with you.
Yes.
I don't like to kiss and tell. I don't like to talk out of the school, and maybe I don't realize it. But just before the break, before we came in, you were telling us, how long you've been together. And, well, you can decide if you want to share the other stuff. But
it's been almost 66 years.
Yeah.
But we've known each other since she was 5 and I was 6. So she's been the love of my life literally all my life.
And can I, I'm trying to see if I can read this here. I'm almost choked up by it, right? This individual writes and shares that they know of you from a distance, and in you they see what is a love, right? This is what they write. A love that transcends all ages. A love that is genuine. A love that portrays in our society something that we all strive for but rarely attain, right? And we want that. And this person writes, a love that almost seems to be a fairy tale. And in today's fast-paced world of reality TV and celebrity quote-unquote love, we no longer see the realities of what it takes to sustain love. I know we were talking about the book, but maybe
that's okay. That's okay.
Maybe that embodies what it is, right?
Yes.
Because you become a partner, and we all. Well, I shouldn't say we all, because I'm cognizant that have approached it differently. But those of us who have taken the vows that said, to love and to hold, to honor and to obey, till death do us part, and to in goodness and all the other stuff. And it's just something that we repeat, so much so now that we even don't do that anymore. Mr. Go ahead, Mom. You share with us.
Riva, you could put in your 2 cents.
And it's not been easy 65 years. We have had ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have ups and downs, then that's a fairy tale that will crash.
Could you tell those of us who haven't been married as long, who are probably thinking about marrying, who may have, apparently marriage and relationships go through ups and downs, they're different, whether they're cycles or whichever. Is there a secret to the success? What's your advice? Well, start with that first.
But there's no advice if you love each other, if you trust in God, and that's a secret right there.
Okay.
Because if you don't trust in God and give Him your all, then you have nothing to gain.
Something someone said long ago, and I've heard again recently. I've paraphrased it and reinterpreted it, so hopefully I don't misunderstand it, but it's what helps me. You need to learn to serve each other, give all of you to the other, and make sacrifices, not without compromising.
Oh, yes.
But, so is that true?
Oh,
yes,
absolutely.
Definitely.
You've kind of wrapped up our love and our life in a few seconds, few minutes, couple of minutes anyway.
Wow. So out of words of babes, huh?
Her father, or at least her great-grandfather, I should say, was the first child born in Kimmenbrack.
Wow.
So her father, she's a half-bracker.
Okay.
Like me, I'm a half-bracker. My father was born in Georgetown, of course. And I was born in Kimmenbrack, where my mother was born. But I spent most of my first 12 years.
That's all for the book.
Okay.
Okay, so
we're pull in the
okay.
plug in the book.
Okay, well, so let's do that. Yeah. Mr. Fox, do we need to take a break, sir, or we can keep talking? Okay. So, Ms. Riva, Mr. Roy, we'll pause this little commercial break, and when we come back, your book is titled "My Life in a Conch Shell."
Right.
Wow. I don't think there could be a better title. And you can tell us a little bit about it, what's prompted it, and what's in it, and how to get it, and so on.
Yes.
And maybe because of that obvious shared love, respect, admiration, and genuine connection and commitment, we will get to appreciate, as we were talking to Ms. Stephanie earlier, why relationships are important. All right, join us after the break if you want to hear more, and then we can tell you how to get a copy of the book and why. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Ransomware, DDoS, malware, phishing. If you don't know what those mean, you're not alone. But if you aren't protected against those cybersecurity attacks, then your business is at risk. Don't leave your data or your business vulnerable. Get Digicel Business Protect. Simpler, smarter cybersecurity. Visit our website, www.digicelbusiness.com, to request a callback or call us now on 623-2499.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from May 30th to June 2nd and June 7th to 11th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
If you care about your car's performance and fuel economy, you must fill up at Jose's Escape with the new Pure 93. Experts know that the higher the octane rating, the better your engine will perform. Pure 93 is the highest octane fuel available in Cayman. Protect your car against pre-ignition and engine knocks. Top up your tank now with Pure 93 at Jose's Rubis and enter to win an awesome track bike. But there's more. Jose's offers 2 lateral flow test kits for only $10. The best KN95 masks, 2 for $5. And 10 stylish black surgical masks are only $5. Share the love. Purchase Reflections gift certificates and enter to win the amazing Trek bike.
It's Cash Whiz Cayman Kids Got Talent Show
2022.
Calling all kids 11 to 17 years to showcase their God-given talent and win cash and prizes. Registration ends June 18 and forms are available at your schools in Cash Whiz Cayman. Limited space, so register now. Cash Whiz Cayman Kids Got Talent
2022.
Call for more information 321-7274 or 927-6352.
Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman are reminding customers that applications must be completed in full or they will not be accepted. In efforts to improve customer service and processing time, only fully completed applications will be accepted. Customers are responsible for providing the required information for the application to be processed and are encouraged to review the application checklist before submission. For guidance, visit www.worc.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
A blessed good afternoon. Welcome back. And thank you for joining us. And thanks to Mr. Roy Borden and his lovely wife, Ms. Reva, for joining us as we talk about his book, My Life in a Conch Shell.
Well, you know, I thought a lot about giving the book different titles, but I wanted to give it something that was Caymanian. And what is more, you know, what is more... how should I put it, common than a conch shell in Cayman.
It was used for so many things, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were blowing the horns. They're using in the yards for their walkways and just so many other things that a conch shell was used for. Of course, you ate the inside, and after you ate the inside, then you...
And you use what you didn't eat to, fish, to catch other stuff.
Right.
As I was speaking with you, if he doesn't mind, I mean,
Of course not.
Mr. George Walton and his wonderful wife, Miss Lynn, over in the back, the
Yes.
chance to have become acquainted with them. And my prayers are with Mr. George and his family. And,
I know George quite well.
And for him, like, his wife shared, to record their stories and their tales and the little things so that we have it for posterity, but also for us to recognize and respect the resource that we have within.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Roy, as you write, well, maybe let's first ask. Thanks for sharing the title with us and
Yes.
to why. But what drove you to want to, write down and have this book at this time?
Well, the first thing I thought about was the youth of the islands. In fact, I dedicated the book to that as well as my wife and children. But I always thought that it would be an inspiration, if you don't mind my saying so, but it's an inspiration to the youth to show what someone can accomplish if he puts his mind to it. And that's exactly what I did. There's just so much that I put my mind to, and thank God I accomplished most of those things that I put my mind to.
Amen, amen.
And this book kind of, encapsulates all of those years.
All right, so the book is available now.
It is.
Where can we get it?
Well, let me tell you, right now we're going to have a book signing at the library. No, not the library.
At the museum.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the time yet, but it will be on the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
It will be on the 18th of this month, next week, next week, Saturday.
Right.
And I will let
you all know and let us know.
Let you know the time.
Yeah. I think next Saturday is when the museum is also having the Lukia.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
So it'll be a good opportune time for us to see all that is going on and be all a part of. Hopefully the mangoes as well will be still being blown. So we can come there and buy the copies as well.
Right.
And get the personalized autograph copy.
And then, we'll see, we'll go from there as far as, right now we have 250 copies that we can sell. And
are there... I always like to help and hopefully don't hinder, but, what's in the book? What's some of the things? And it isn't just to be nosy and curious. It's not just to tease and the like, but too many times, as a people, we're busy, we're distracted. As Ms. Stephanie reminded us, we choose those. But are there, if it's okay for us, Mr. Roy Tax, Ms. Riva, are there particular things in the book that resonate with you, that stand out? That
No, it's a little tits and bits.
Tits and bits, huh?
Of our life together. Roy knows more about me than I know about myself. Because he can tell me things that we did during our school years. What? I didn't do those things. And this is what happens. And they want me to write my autobiography. But in reality, I'm doing the same thing that he did, writing it over.
She's all part of the book. In fact, almost from the beginning, she's part of the book. Because, as I said before, we've known each other since she was 5 and 6 years old. And I never thought once in my life that I would be marrying anyone else but her.
Wow.
And
that's beautiful, huh?
I thank God that he gave me my wish.
Wow. See, this is the thing. It's good that we have examples from across the globe. They may genuinely be good people who live good lives, but we don't know them. We know the people that our parents know that grew up down the street. We know you guys, or we know of you, or we can connect with you. We can reach out to you much easier than we can. And especially in this time and day where some of these, there's words that come to mind that I would like to describe them, but maybe not appropriate for public negotiation. These so-called celebrities, I mean, they're a dime a dozen, and they don't even work. You know how that go. But we have genuine people like you guys that can serve as an example, as an inspiration, that can remind us that our relationships should transcend their ups and downs, that they should be genuine. And if they're marital, if they're familial, they need to be just like the business that stays in business for centuries, because they genuinely serve the interests of the customer. This book.
Well, this book encapsulates just about everything I can possibly think of, at least up to this time, about my life and our times. In fact, as I said before, almost from the beginning, she's part of my book. But she was the one that was always pushing me to do different things. And, it's
and good
anyone,
things, I might add.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me, I'm somewhat timid at times. But she's back there pushing.
She's the support. Right?
Yes.
It's the person that inspires and nurtures. We do have a caller online. Mr. Roy Borden and Miss Riva, his wonderful wife, are our guests. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling Green. Good afternoon to my friend.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mickey.
Borden and to Riva there. Great to hear you on there. A lot of Caymanians don't know your story. As Mr. Arden McLean often says, they see our glory, don't know our story. And it's a wonderful story of yours. You know his connection with our family. A wonderful connection. Your great father, Del Borden, Arindel, and so forth. All that he did. It's just coming out now, and it was one before. And a Cayman that is lost in our history and is gone by. And we continue on with a modern Cayman where people have cell phones every day and they're not in touch with each other and so forth.
Yes.
But it's just wonderful to hear you on there, Roy.
Okay.
And they don't know of your great abilities with your music, your musical talents and so forth, and some people they have learned over the years. But it's just wonderful to hear you there. And
by the way,
the old Cayman, and we know that's gone now. But yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Who am I talking to?
This is Mickey Hurlston.
Mickey, oh, for Pete's sakes, Mickey.
This is Mickey.
Oh, good grief.
Yes.
We've known each other since year one.
Yes. Our families are intertwined.
Absolutely.
Yes, you know. But I let you carry on and tell the people about those great golden days of Cayman that don't exist any longer.
Yes.
We might as well admit it. They don't exist any longer whatsoever. So I'm thankful you're on there, and you can try to express it to our people.
Thank you, Mickey.
What we knew, and all that you have done.
Thank you, Mickey.
You. Have a wonderful day.
You as well.
You on Radio.
I've known your family since I was about 3 years old.
So knee high as a grasshopper. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mickey. And I always enjoy when he shares, because not only as he says his opinion, but he expresses it with passion.
Yes.
With a true sense of deportment. We do have another caller.
Yes.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Brother George, sir, how are you today?
And that's my cousin that you got on there today, right?
Yeah, but we're not holding it against him, you know. How are you, sir?
Right, Roy.
Who's this?
George.
Oh, George. Oh, goodness. I didn't recognize your voice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, glad to hear you on there. Like Nick said, see your glory, but they don't know your story. You got to tell them about the Cracker Jim days. In Tampa, you know?
Yeah.
But Roy, I need you to give me a call, please. I lost your number. I need you to give me a call.
Okay, George, I'll do that.
But good to hear you on there, and we got to get together soon and let's play together again sometime, you know?
Right.
Okay, Mr. George, thank you, sir.
You take care of yourself.
And I have to send them to you.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Take care, Mr. George. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
And, Mr. Borden, perhaps if your schedule ever allows and whether we have to do it so that it's more convenient. People don't recognize that despite the good roads that we've invested in, sometimes just getting from point A to point B can be a bit of a challenge, can be inconvenient. So we may do it over the phone if necessary. But I always like to, as I say, you see the whites of my eyes, but that we can talk in the future. But with your book, My Life in a Conch Shell, as you remind us, the conch shell is uniquely something that we can look to. There's the meal that the meat provides.
Yes.
There's the notion that just the ornamentation. Right. And
That's
then
right.
the reminder that as the seaman, the fisherman has come back to shore, not only is he announcing his catch, but thank God he's back in safely. Right?
Yes.
And then, of course, the shell has been used in other districts for other ways as well. But it's a very, a very instrumental tool.
It really is.
Your book, and as you said, next Saturday is your book signing at the National Museum.
Right.
So we get a chance to be part of the look here and be part of that event. With that and with your book, sorry, if you wish to jump in, Ms. Riva, please go right ahead.
That's okay.
As we read it, and cover to cover, and probably like many, it'll be a reference for us. What are you hoping that people will get from the pages as they read it?
That I'm hoping that they'll see that they're, as a youth, you can aspire to a lot of things that you want to do. And, with God's help, you can get those things. For instance, one of the things that I always wanted to do was to sing at the Grand Ole Opry. And it came to pass.
Yeah.
But even more than that, the only person, and I mean the only person I ever wanted to share my life with, was Riva.
Wow.
I didn't even give it a second thought.
Never once?
Not once.
Wow.
Nobody else. It was either her or nobody.
I'm inclined to ask, and yet mindful because I don't like to pry. And this is one of the things.
Just ask.
How did you know that, sir?
Pardon me?
How did you know from the?
I've asked him that question many times.
How did?
It just seems that it just kind of grew on you. It's a very difficult question to answer, to tell you, Sterling. I wish I could just say, oh, yes, it's this and this and that. But from the time we were children growing up, there was a closeness that we had with each other, connection.
Wow.
And she was born in Jamaica. Her father was from the Brack, as I said before. Her mother born in Trelawney. Her mother, by the way, was one of those what they call the Jamaican. You ever heard that term? A Jamaican is a Jamaican of German background.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So that's her background. And when I left to go to the States, when I was not quite 12 years old, we started writing each other.
Wow.
She was 11, I was 12, and we wrote each other, and we go, and through the letters, things just grew. And 7.5 years later, I saw her, and 2 years later we were married.
Do you still have those letters, sir?
Pardon me?
Do you still have them?
I do. She doesn't, but I do.
Sorry, Mr. He's a romantic, huh?
Don't ask him that question.
Okay.
Because he'll go home and pull out that box.
Oh, okay.
And every day I said, are you going to get rid of those boxes? Are you going to get rid of them? When? You don't need them anymore. I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, he wants that box.
You see, this is, I think, well, you've shared some of this with me before, right? And it's not that sad that we say, oh, you're hopeless romantic, or we get caught up in some of those movies and those books. But to be able to see through you real life experience and real life, real life. Now,
it's so.
I'm glad that you accepted the invitation to come on, not just to talk about your book, but may remind us if it's okay, Ms. Reeve, I want you,
Go right ahead.
from what I know of you and what I've sensed from you over the years.
And you don't know too much of
and
me.
I don't know too much of you. Yeah, right. You are a forthright lady, very astute, very determined, and won't hesitate.
Boy, do you know her?
Well, thank you for clarifying.
Maybe a little too much.
and I don't think that the people who are listening, if they leave and not appreciate that this isn't just love of husband and wife, of parents. This is love for our community, for self, and a love for our society to find unity. Because what we will face as we go through life are the ups and downs.
Oh, yes.
And what is it that's going to sustain us, right? And it's love.
It's
right.
love, and even more so with both of us having the Lord in our lives. That cements everything.
You haven't been unequally yoked.
No,
Right.
ma'am. No, sir.
All right. Well, I'm very grateful. Sorry, Ms. Rivo. Jump in if you wish,
No,
ma'am. Okay.
no, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, you're such honestly, man. You amazing one.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm listening to whatever.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, thank you, man. Thank you. I know what you said to me. Okay, calm down, son. You just.
Yeah, that's right.
but it is this that inspires us and nurtures us. It is this that reminds us that people come into our lives, as a friend talks about, if I get it right, a time, a season for a purpose and the like. And sometimes we don't understand why and when and how and the like. And we may go our separate ways. We may not appreciate the importance of that, or we may be discouraged or not courageous enough, two different things, to pursue that.
Well, let me tell you something. I often wonder if I had stayed in Jamaica, if I would have married her, because we were too close to each other. We lived next door to each other. We went to school together, and so it was that closeness, but it was being apart for almost 7 years that drew us together, so to say, and made us fall in love with each other. We fell in love with each other writing our letters.
They say absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yes, definitely. In our case, definitely.
Out of sight, out of mind as well.
Right.
Out of mind, out of sight.
Out of mind, out of sight.
That's
right. So the heart knows what heart wants, what our heart wants, right? And for many, I don't think that we appreciate it. And I reflect to the conversations with Stephanie earlier. Whether we call it energy, vibration, whether we call it being in tune, or with a gut instinct, what have you. Sometimes we're not willing to look within to self-love so that we can embrace that which is offered that makes us feel wanted.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes we go along just to get along. So how then do we, and I would imagine as we turn the pages of your book, we'll draw inspiration that we can not just overcome, but we can succeed, persevere, and prosper in life, not just financially, but more importantly, through the ups and downs. If I can, and perhaps as we respectfully, thank those who have allowed us for extra minutes, ask you, Ms. Riva, how do we navigate life's ups and downs?
We were not people that dwell on money. We didn't have a lot of money. I'm even ashamed to say how much Roy was making when we got married. And we were in New York. I was in Jamaica 3 months after he left, and I went to New York, and he went back to work, and I can't even. I remember, and I can't tell you how much. And then comes a baby. And for 3 months, I cried.
Wow.
I wanted to go home. I miss my mother, my father.
The safety of home.
Yes, right. And Roy would come home. What's now? The same thing, over and over. But then when baby comes, you have to put that aside because you can't take care of a baby with crying eyes, you know. So that helped a lot. And then we started taking baby to church with us. At that time, we were not real Christians.
That's all.
You know, we were wishy-washy.
Lukewarm.
You know, lukewarm. But then as we kept on going to church together, Roy being in concerts at the church, Sunday school, it just grew on us. And you become a Christian in the Lord.
Yeah. But I think maybe the church too was a space of safety. It was a sanctuary.
It was.
Absolutely.
It was.
Yeah.
Because remember the years that we taught Sunday school.
Yes.
You the 5th and 6th grade, and then when I came to Cayman back in 1991 was it really? 91. I ended up. I graduated to my peers. Though they are 50s and 60 years old. So, but with that all, I did a lot of singing. But one of the things I never did, and because of being a Christian, I never sang in bars or clubs. I did concerts. That was my forte, doing concerts. Doing opening shows for people like Eddie Arnold and Hank Lachlan and just a whole bunch of them along the way.
This is where I'm hoping that we will not only support you, but do something for ourselves by getting a copy of the book, but do something for posterity so that we have right to our hands a living legacy, an opportunity to touch, feel, and understand something that connects to us. We can read all the books from all the greats that we may think history has recorded as such, or celebrate all the noted people, whether politician or athlete or some other actor on stage somewhere. But if we don't look to the own that have lived their lives that can resonate with us, as you were talking about, where you were born, whether it was Nebraska or Jamaica, I think we fail to understand the historical context. Jamaica, like Cayman, was a colony. It was British Cayman, it was British Honduras, it was British Jamaica. And as a people, just like a country, it goes through a transition. And it wants to be independent, but never so much so that it doesn't understand its interdependence and interconnection. So the two of you shared, a life together and found a way that brought not just structure, stability, but brought a sense, of purpose. And Mr. Roy, over the years, but thank you, sir. I'm always honored to be in there. Any sort of closing thoughts? And please accept my invitation to come back. Any closing thoughts you may want to share with us, from the book or otherwise?
The book, as I said before, when is it? The 18th.
Next Saturday, right?
Next week, Saturday, we're going to be having a book signing at the museum. Museum, isn't it, Reba?
The museum. And if anybody wants a book that can't wait or don't know of anybody else, they can call me. I'm not, I can give out my number, 922-1800, and they can come to my house or whatever. We live with Roger, our son, and we're home most of the time. If we don't go to doctors or therapy or whatever, we're home.
My prayer is that you and many of our, our elders will continue to not only find favor in health and in mind, body, and spirit and soul and the like, but as a community, that we will show you the love and the respect. I say that because I recognize sometimes even with my own parents, there's no question of love. It's a question that it's, we're not as attentive, not as, receptive to to their needs, but how do we speak and treat them? It's not disrespect that we intend, but maybe what is conveyed. It's not that we don't appreciate their service and sacrifice, but perhaps we believe that there'll be a tomorrow. And maybe, but will it be for us?
Yes.
And your public display of love, that all-encompassing love, thank you for it, man. Thank you for being that supportive, nurturing couple that serves as an example that inspires.
Well, I can only thank you for having us on the program. And being here at my old, as I said before, my old stomping grounds. I feel so much at home.
Yes, sir.
And I'm hoping that folks will come out and, buy the book, because I think it'll be a form of inspiration, especially for the younger Caymanians, whom I'm dedicating the book to, along with my wife and children, of course.
Yes, sir.
So, oops.
Yeah, well, maybe that's a good way to, by the bell as that sound looms in the background.
They heard my number.
There we go. All right, we're going to take leave of today's program as Ms. Riva, and for those who want a copy of My Life in a Conch Shell, Mr. Roy Borden's book, next Saturday at the museum's Lokia event, you can...
Right, we can get a copy there, and hopefully we'll get it into some of the bookstores.
We're trying at the moment to try put it in Mind's Eye. I don't know but somebody's trying to make arrangements for us.
Okay.
So
all right.
we'll
hopefully
we'll let you know.
Well, it's a small community.
Yeah.
Seek and ye shall find, and knock on the door should be open unto thee.
It shall be happen now.
Mr. Roy, thank you very much.
Thank you again.
My grandson from Hawaii. My grandson from Hawaii.
Well, we shan't take any longer because that call needs to be returned.
Yes.
that was him calling.
Yeah.
Well, today was...
and he's listening.
part of our, Thoughtful Thursdays sort of production, and nothing has, I think, been more of a blessing. And again, speak to both of you. Ms. Riva, thank you for coming in and sitting with us.
We would like to be back.
Yes, ma'am.
And we will, if it becomes available, we will be.
Indeed, we shall make it available, God's willing. Now, tomorrow's show, we have, through Miss Anita in our sales, a wonderful opportunity to speak to some of the contestants in the Miss Cayman universe. And we can have a chance to chat with them. And then we'll close it out with a discussion, part of showcasing our youth and their talent as part of the Cayman Arts Festival. So there's much to be had here in this society. We just need to show love, respect, and appreciation.
Yep.
All right, well, Ms. Roy, as they would say in the days of yesteryear, or women were recognized by, Mrs. Roy Borden, but Ms. Riva, you are in and of yourself and ventilated with her own identity, but such a nurturing spirit. And I think your soulmate here has demonstrated publicly that love should be, all-encompassing and transcending all. So trust and pray, continue blessings.
Thank you, Sterling.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Fox, for giving us that time, and to those who listen, perhaps you'll draw from today what should inspire, and as you find something that grounds you, maybe you will not be like me and be encouraged. Perhaps you maybe not be like me and be courageous, but maybe you might be like me and recognize that to save the flavor is sometimes to take the step. Until tomorrow, my friends, join Miss Dart in the morning for the record. Be a part of Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation, and may love take you, where the goodwill and the grace of God will have you. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village.